Hi guys, and welcome back to yet another video on our English channel. Today we will talk about the topic that we already discussed very thoroughly in our German channel, and it's a question: how did we become watch dealers, or let's say better, why we became watch dealers. And the thing is, to start the story we need to go way back to our childhoods, mine and Patrick's, because Patrick and I were the ones that founded the company in 2021. And going back to our childhood, we both had similar contacts with watches. Our parents never had any luxury watches, never had any kind of luxury lifestyle. We come from a working class family or working class families, so we were not in touch or in contact with any luxury goods. As many people, for example, many of our clients have parents that already collected watches or grandparents, but that's not the case for us. We both were the first ones in our families that had luxury watches in their hands and in their possession. So we started as children. We were somehow both fascinated with mechanical watches. For me personally, that's a funny thing, it was a Rolex Air King that first triggered my interest in watches, and that was basically because I was interested in buying a watch for like my first salary. And when I was 16, I have to add, when I went to the shop, I got a Tissot, which was a mechanical watch, and I asked myself, how can this work? How can there be mechanical watches? How can that work? So without a battery, normally things can't run without batteries. And then I got to know what the mechanical movements, how they work and what they are. And of course, if you get into the material, if you try to learn something about mechanical watches, you have to you will get in touch with Rolex. And that's how I got in touch with luxury watches, throughout my interest for the mechanical watches themselves. And after that, it continued. I was interested in various models, but never had the money for that. And in 2020, I got to know Patrick. We were both studying in the same city, in the same university, even in the same field, but in different classes. So I got to know him, and after that, we somehow connected throughout this topic. So basically, we were talking about cars and watches all the time. And in 2020, in the summer, we met at my apartment. I remember that day very precisely. We met in my apartment. We were talking about watches, and at some point, one of us asked the other one, so what are we gonna do? We need to do something. Because we both wanted to open a new business, to start a new business. And basically we were both just business administration students. We never had anything that we can get, let's say, any material or any product that we are technically so good that we can sell or produce or make. So it was basically the choice, should we make an online shop or a shop with watches? And I think it took like 1 second, and the other one responded immediately with, yeah, let's do that. And then it started pretty fast with online website. Patrick prepared the website. We made profiles in some platforms. We got some capital together. It was basically what we had saved in the last few months and years. And it was, I think, around 20,000 euros. Don't ask me, I don't know it anymore. And it was literally only enough money to buy 3 or 4 watches. And I remember exactly that it was a Cartier Santos steel gold Galbé. It was date 18038, which is the single quick set, but it was in a very bad condition. By the way, the client that we sold this watch to is still one of our very loyal clients. He's still trading dates with us up to this day. The third watch was an Air King. I think the reference was 14000, so 000. And the fourth one was a Audemars Piguet dress watch from the 70s, full gold, but it was a hand-wound movement, not an automatic one. So that was basically all we had. The cost for those 4 watches at that time was 20,000 for us to buy them. And the funny thing is, we sold the Air King without any profit and the Audemars Piguet with a loss. So in the end, 2 out of 4 watches were not even profitable. But we did not let this discourage us. We continued. We started buying more watches. We got money from friends and family, so we can continue with what we do. And after a few months, we saw that there's potential in the market. We can do it. We can probably make good money with buying buying and selling watches. The problem is we wanted to have a watchmaker, but of course there was no money to hire one, so we went to a watchmaker in our city and he helped us with checking watches in case we had questions. We had to open watches ourselves, we had to check them, and we were one of the first watch dealers that actually got a time scale, at least the online dealers, not the old ones that have a watchmaker, but the backpack dealers. And we were one of the first ones that had a time scale that opened the watches and checked themselves. Most people don't even check the watches when they buy them, which is pretty infuriating, but that's a thing or a topic for a different video. So we tried to do everything as correctly as possible, but quickly found out that running a business is very, very hard and complicated. If you want to focus on your main business field, you have to get someone who takes care of everything else. Let it be taxes, let it be have the numbers in control, to check the costs of things, to run, let's say, the processes, secondary processes that are not part of the main business fields. That's why we got Christian on board. He was an old friend of Patrick and he offered to help us for free. He said he believes in the idea, he believes in the company and he wants to be part of it, and said that he will support us as long as we need it without any money, and that's why we hired him. He came to Aalen, where we at that time just recently opened a store, came to the store and started working in the city just so he can support us in his free time with the things that we needed him. And that's how he became member of the Gold Luxury team. He was the first one who officially joined the company. At that time we didn't know that he's gonna be a shareholder at some time in the future, in the near future. For me it was now the decision to make that I stopped working my full-time job. I got a part-time job and concentrated and focused more on the business. And at that time we understood that we need to be available for the clients, we need to be available via phone, via WhatsApp. So that's why the decision was made that I will leave the job, the full-time job I was doing at that time, and I will also work at least most of the time for Gold Luxury. And that was basically how we three got together, how we three went to a company together or became a company together. And after this, we got some investors on board, we got some money, additional capital that we can work with, and that of course boosted our numbers. Now it was possible for us to get bigger watches with better margins. We were able to buy more watches, make more deals possible since we had more opportunities and could do more with the time and with the resources that we had. So that's why we decided that we need to also have another person part-time in the company who's gonna do the purchases, and also additionally we need someone to go full out just in the company, and that was me. Patrick at that time started doing the thing, he does the purchasing and the marketing part-time, since it was just too much to work a full-time job plus an additional job. He did reduce his hours in the job he did. He came into the company more strongly, and that's how we boosted numbers once again. Now we had a team of 2 people working part-time in the company, 1 full-time, and we got some really significant speed with that. So that after a few months we decided that now it will slowly be time for Patrick to get rid of his main job and be fully involved in the watch dealing company. And that is when Patrick decided that we will not only be full-time all in, but also when we decided that we want to open a second location, which was a location in Simbach that we still have up to this date. And when we opened this, we decided that we need someone to go there and work from there, but it wasn't possible at that time for any one of us. So what we did is we hired someone, was my little brother, who helped us out for this time until someone was able to move to Simbach to work there, because the distance from the 2 locations is like 300 kilometers. And that's where we decided that my little brother will start working in the location in Simbach, and that's why he started there. And after a year, when everything was said and done and everything was ready, Christian moved to Simbach first, and then Patrick moved as well to Simbach, which helped us get in more control with our operations, processes. We hired a watchmaker, master watchmaker there. So now we were able to check every watch, but not only check the watches, but also we were able to service most of the watches, to repair watches if it was needed, to make small polishings, to prepare, to make watches basically sales ready. That helped us as well boost the business once again, because now we could buy watches that need a service and make the service and sell them as serviced, which helps you because you buy the watch cheaper. You invest some time and work, of course, but you can sell it more expensive than you buy a watch without a service, which is, I would say, obvious. And after Patrick and Christian moved to Simbach, that was last year, we decided that it is time for me to run the Aalen office. And since the Aalen office is very, very far away from the location where I was at that time, where I lived, we decided that we have to move the location from Aalen to Ulm, and this is where we are right now. This is the location we have here, and that was a good move because now we have a very, very strong location here for sales, and we have a very, very strong location in Simbach, which is huge. We have a lot of space to put our colleagues in. We have a videographer since last year. We have one colleague who's just doing the photographs for our watch ads, and we need the space, we need the creative space, but we also need space for the watchmaker workshop. We need a space for storing the watches. That's a lot of space that is needed, and in Simbach we have a big building, a big old bank building that is extremely secure, which is extremely big, and we can expand there. I believe this is the base how we can expand the company for the next 5, 6, 7 years. And this is where we are right now, settled in 2 locations, one in Simbach where Christian and Patrick sit, and one in Ulm where I and another watchmaker that we hired this year sit, and we can now meet you in 2 locations, and that is how we operate right now. So that's basically the whole story behind the company in a very, very fast way. If you're German speaking and you did not see our English video or German video, sorry, go to our German channel and check it out there again, because it's a little more detailed. I explain it together with our colleagues as well, my business partners as well. And tell me if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. And if you like the video, give us a thumbs up and follow our channel. See you next time.